This right here is the 15-inch MacBook Air in the beautiful midnight color, and it has been out for 9 whole months. That's enough time for an entire child to be born, which I've recently had to explain to my 8-year-old son. Uncomfortable, but great. The MacBook Air is so unique in my mind because of how many people benefit from the size and the power of it. So first, let's talk about the size. I remember back in the day, Apple used to have the 12-inch MacBook, and that was a pretty awesome computer for what it was. However, the screen was so unbelievably small that it was really hard to get any major work done. Yes, you could get emails done, and it was kind of nice to bring to meetings because you didn't have a huge laptop with you, but it was just too small. And then they came out with the 13-inch, and most people say that the 13-inch is good enough for them. And I would agree, actually. If you're gonna be working on an external monitor, I typically go for smaller computers because most of the time I use an external monitor. But for most people, they're not out there looking for a computer that you can plug in. They want their laptop to be sufficient in and of itself, and so they go for bigger screens. So 9 months ago, Apple released this 15-inch MacBook Air, and I knew that it was going to be a massive hit from the moment they announced it. Like when you're working at a coffee shop and you have a screen that's large enough to do anything you really need to do, or if you're traveling and you need something for an entertainment device, this MacBook Air is so great. I mean, if you look at the thinness of this device, it is gonna fit in your backpack, it's gonna fit in your luggage, anywhere you want, and you're really not gonna notice that it's in your backpack. It's got 2 USB-C ports right here, it's got a MagSafe charger, and it has a headphone jack. So it really has everything you need as long as you're not a professional that's gonna be plugging a ton of things into your computer. For me, I need those extra ports. I need the SD card slot. And so I decided to go with the 14-inch MacBook Pro. But if I didn't need all that stuff, man, I would be so happy with this 15-inch MacBook Air. Next, let's talk about the new color. This midnight option is so beautiful. It's one of my favorite options. Now, it does hold on to fingerprints quite a bit, but it is still, man, if you just keep a cloth with you and you keep it kind of cleaned off, it is such a cool color of a laptop. I'm absolutely into it. Now next, when it comes to the power of this machine, it's still rocking the M2 chip, but if you're getting a MacBook Air, you're probably not gonna notice any real need to upgrade to a M3 MacBook Pro. The M2 chip is still plenty powerful. The unit that I have is a base model, so it's got 8 gigs of RAM, which still, I know that it says that it lowers the longevity of your SSD. That might be true, but I don't know anybody who's transferring so many files that their SSD life is shortened. So yes, it does use swap memory. So if you do have 8 gigs of RAM, you're gonna be using swap memory, but the SSDs on this are so fast that I don't even notice the difference between the MacBook Air 15-inch and my M3 MacBook Pro. So should you future-proof yourself and get more RAM? Probably. Like if you can get the 16, go for it. But if your budget doesn't allow it, I don't think you're gonna have that much worse of an experience with these machines because of that fast swap memory. Now, the other good thing about this M2 chip is in this small chassis, you're not getting a ton of overheating. 9 months is a long time for a device to kind of come into its own and to see some good updates. And so if you're going with this, just know that you're not gonna have weird performance issues or anything like that. It is gonna be a fantastic laptop long-term for you. Like this laptop, even with the base model, it'll last you easily 5 years. And so say you're a student going into college and you really need a laptop for class, I think this is a great option for you. Or if you're an office worker, this is such a good option because it's gonna do all your work just fine. Most people use Google Chrome anyways for like all their work, so it's gonna be more than enough. Now, pricing wise, this laptop comes in at $1299, which is such a great sweet spot for a laptop. The price to performance is fantastic. It's not gonna blow your bank account up like a really nice MacBook Pro would. I literally spent $4,900 on a MacBook Pro. For you, $1299, that is a solid price for something that's gonna have this much performance. Battery life is gonna last all day. It's gonna be a fantastic laptop for you. So when I'm looking at this and I just look at the price to performance, I look at the battery life, I look at the screen size, it is a no-brainer that people should buy the M2 15-inch MacBook Air. Will we see a new M3 version of the MacBook Air? Absolutely, but you never really need to wait to upgrade with Apple devices because the resale value is so high that if you really see the performance boost in the next chip upgrade, you could sell it off, spend a few extra $100 and get the new model. So do I recommend the 15-inch MacBook Air? Absolutely. I think you should pick one up, and if you do, you will be very happy. Let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about the 15-inch MacBook Air? Do you feel like over the last 9 months, it's lived up to the hype. I think it does. Maybe you think differently. Let me know. Like this video, sub to the channel, and if you like this video and you're trying to figure out how much RAM you want to get, go ahead and watch this video right here. I'll see you all in the next one.